This is Michael Jason Francis, and he's a recovering collector. He's spent all his life buying everything he thought he needed, everything he thought he had to have. And you know what? It's all just collecting dust in boxes for no one to see. Until now. This is the Recovering Collector. Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Recovering Collector. Here on New Toy Robot. I am Michael Jason Francis, and today we are going to talk about this guy. Not the car, James Dean. Now, James Dean died in a car like this, not this size though, in a Porsche Spider, on September 30th, 1955. But why we're talking about James Dean today is not so much as the collection I have of him, is about a special magazine that came out a year after he died. So the three films that he's known for is East of Eden, Rebel Without a Cause, and Giant. Now, by the time James Dean passed away, Rebel Without a Cause and Giant wasn't even released yet. He had just finished filming his scenes from Giant. They actually had to dub his voice on a couple of scenes because it didn't come out too well, and they had to use another actor to dub over his mumbling voice for the final scene. I think it was the scene when he's completely drunk. It's supposed to be him older in Giant, and he's at a podium, like supposed to give a speech or something like that. And anyways, he's mumbling, and no one could hear it, so they had somebody else mumble over him, I guess. I don't remember. Something like that. But when he was dead, so the scene he was older, and they shaved like his hair back to like it looked like a receding hairline. And so when he died, he had that receding hairline. Anyway, so a little bit of useless information. Anyway, so James Dean, here on the Reluctant Collector, let's talk about this magazine. James Byron Dean was born on February 8, 1931, in a small town in Indiana. He was delivered at home and given the first name of the attending physician, James Emmerich, and his middle name, it is said, for the poet, Lord Byron. Marion, Indiana, where Jimmy was born, is an industrial town about 50 miles north of Indianapolis, and he lived there for 4 years until his parents moved to Santa Monica, California. When Jimmy was 9 years old, his mother passed away of breast cancer, and he was sent back to Indiana to live out his youth in Fairmont. When Jimmy was old enough, he left Fairmont, Indiana, and headed to New York City, where he pursued acting through various classes and stage productions, eventually making his way down to Hollywood, where he would do some TV shows and some stage dramas, until he got his big break. The director Elia Kazan had seen Jimmy during his brief appearance at the Actors Studio and recognized his talent. Jimmy's rebellion and pride made Elia Kazan want to test Jimmy for the part of Caleb in East of Eden. East of Eden would be James Dean's breakthrough performance. Reviews would call him the next Marlon Brando. After that, the films that followed were Rebel Without a Cause and the epic Giant, with Elizabeth Taylor and Rock Hudson. Ironically, during the making of Giant, James Dean was asked to do a PSA about the dangers of driving fast.
Ladies and gentlemen, James Dean. Hi, Jimmy.
Hiya, Gig.
We asked Jimmy over today because he's a racing man himself. A real one, not a crazy one. Incidentally, I think I should explain that Jimmy just stepped over from the set of Giant. And need I add, he plays a Texan. Speaking of racing, have you ever been in a drag race?
Are you kidding me?
I just thought I'd ask. No, Jim races in the tradition, you might say. Real racing cars, real tracks. How fast will your car go?
Oh, an honest miles an hour. Clocked, it run about 106, 7.
You've won a few races, haven't you?
Oh, 1 or 2.
Where?
Well, I showed pretty good at Palm Springs. I ran at Bakersfield.
Jimmy, we probably have a great many young people watching our show tonight, and for their benefit, I'd like your opinion about fast driving on the highway. Do you think it's a good idea?
A good point. I used to fly around quite a bit, you know. I took a lot of unnecessary chances on the highways. And I started racing, and now I drive on the highways. I'm extra cautious, you know, because no one knows what they're doing. Half the time, you don't know what this guy's going to do with that one. On a track, there are a lot of men who spend a lot of time developing rules and ways of safety. And I find myself being very cautious on the highway. I don't have the urge to speed on the highway. People say racing is dangerous, but I'll take my chances on the track any day than on a highway. Well, Gig, I think I'd better take off.
Oh, wait a minute, Jimmy. One more question. Do you have any special advice for the young people who drive?
Take it easy driving. The life you might save might be mine, you know.
So that's it. So yeah, that's a very rare James Dean fan magazine. It came out. It was basically the first time James Dean was ever on the cover of a magazine, and it was for, you know, I want to say like a year after his death. So how crazy is that? He didn't make a cover of a magazine until he passed away. Let me know if you have any questions. You can email me at newtoyrobot@gmail.com if you want to show your collection on this show. Once again, email me at newtoyrobot@gmail.com. Click, like, and subscribe.